Yeah.
You want to like them, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters.
Ah.
Yeah, it is Monday, September 10th, and you are listening to the Scout Team with Scout Team Sports. I am glad to be on the airwaves. I am the Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
And on the other line is my great friend, the great patriot, the G.I. Joe himself. Yeah, it's Chris America on the other line, I believe.
Yeah, it's Chris America coming to you live with 12 Ounce Sports Radio. I cannot get this timing right, Kyle.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. I feel like I threw you a little softball there, got you ready, and boom. I think it's you forget to turn the mic on. Is that what it was?
No, this time I guess the cat or something unplugged the mixer. not from the plug, but from the back to where it looks like it's still plugged in, but it's not. And I didn't have my headphones on yet, so we're good. It's Monday morning, man. It's a Monday. I'm blaming it on Monday.
You're totally one of those guys that at school was like, the dog ate my homework. I'm serious. It ate my homework. It totally ate my homework. That's why I didn't do any of my homework. Well, it is great to be on the airwaves this beautiful Monday morning. We had a absolutely phenomenal weekend in sports. Tons of college football, full slate of NFL action. Serena Williams does not achieve her U.S. Open victory like I had predicted, but there is a lot going on there. That story we will unravel a little bit later. But Chris America, man, how was your weekend? Did you have a great sports weekend?
I had an okay sports weekend. It started off rough with my Gators losing. The 31-year streak is over. It was bad. But then my Panthers, how about them Cowboys? Panthers lifted me back up. My defense looks so solid. The front seven looks sick. Ezekiel Elliott couldn't do nothing. They just had no answers for that. They had one drive that they put together at the end, which that always happens towards the end. Defenses start calling more like prevent and zone. You're not running the same defense you've been running. So they kind of got an easy score there. But then when the time was on the line, man, we just kept coming after Dak, sack after sack. Olsen looks like he's going to be, I don't know. He was in a boot after his injury, so that's a big loss for us. But overall, not a bad weekend.
All right, well, good to hear. And now you glossed over this just a little bit, but there was a bet that you had that Florida would win. And you've done really well with this bet against Kentucky for a very long time because it was easy money. Florida always came out with a victory. But this year, this was a big bet for you because Girls Beer Sports, they got involved with this. They're big Kentucky fans. Carrie over at Girls Beer Sports put it out there and said, you know what? This is the year Kentucky wins. This is the year we do this. So tell us a little bit about this bet, and now what are your payoffs? What do you have to do to make the listeners pleased with what you're doing over there with your bet?
First of all, Gator Nation, I just want to apologize. It was me who caused the Gators to lose. I've taken 2 bets now on 12ouncesportsradio.com when it concerns the Gators. 2 bets with other shows from 12 Ounce Sports. One was during the World Series. I took a bet with the Rehab Sports guys that Arkansas wouldn't beat Florida. Arkansas wiped the floor with them after that bet. And now I have a bet with Girls Beer Sports, Carrie over there. She tempted me in with her tempting ways. I took the bet. It was an easy bet, 31 years. And looks like the curse of the Chris America taking bets on the Gators has struck again. I'm swearing off betting on my Gators anymore on 12 Ounce Sports. I've always had a rule never to gamble on my own team. But, you know, you get wrapped up in these romper bets and these shirt bets and these onesie bets. You kind of lose track of, like, the problem. Loudbeard. You know the problem that I'm talking about.
The gambling problem. Yeah, this is a regular problem. Now, I am with you 100%. It is very difficult to gamble on your own team because you don't gamble with your head, you gamble with your heart, and that is never a good thing to do.
And it just curses your team. It's just bad sports juju.
And the other thing is if you lose, not only are you just upset because your team lost, now you also have to have the additional regret of losing the bet. And what are you going to have to do for your Gator Nation? What are you going to have to show them for 72 hours? What is it that you have to do?
Well, it's not 72. Oh, man.
Wait, was it 32 hours? You had some sort of number on there.
Yeah, it was 31 hours. So 1 hour for every year that the streak got broken. So 31 game streak, 31 hours. I'm going to start Wednesday night. I got to talk to you guys about it, but I think we need to go out into the public so everybody can see the Gator fan in all of his glory wearing a Kentucky Wildcats t-shirt. I'll start it then. I'm off on Thursday, so I'll be able to go around town with my Kentucky shirt, show it off to everybody, maybe make fun of some Gator fans while I'm there.
That's a good idea. Or you could just hide in the closet for the rest of the day on Thursday because it's pretty embarrassing, my friend.
Yeah,
Embarrassing.
Unfortunately, I have to be out in public. I can't just – that's why I'm picking Thursday because I'm off on Thursday. I can wear it all day out in public where if I have had to work, I wouldn't be able to wear it at work and stuff. So I figured that way I could pay it off right away. And Carrie was more brave than I am. She lives in Lexington, so she goes to the tailgates every single Saturday. I don't live in Gainesville. I usually work on Saturdays, so I wasn't able to pay off it that way. But she was willing to go into the tailgate of Kentucky wearing a Gator shirt. So she was brave on her end of the bet, but she knew. She had to have known something that I didn't know. I mean, I did know that Snell Jr. was going to be hard to stop, and he was. I can't wait for that guy to leave. That's the one good thing about college football. It's not like the NFL where, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, if you're in that division, you're stuck with that dude being the opposing quarterback for like the next 15, 20 years. At least in college football, I know Snell Jr.'s gone in a year or two. So I can't wait for that guy to leave.
Yeah, it's time. It's time for that to happen. Now, Carrie did the right thing. She felt very strong in her convictions, and she moved forward with it. So I applaud her. Now, you and I, we're very strong on our convictions when we do our top 5 fantasy drafts. So this past Friday, we did worst Browns quarterbacks of all time. And I wanted to say, sir, congratulations. 53% to 47% on the polls. You are the winner of the best worst Browns quarterback team. Now, I don't know if you noticed this or not. There is a weird love for Tim Couch in Browns Nation.
Yeah, you kind of drew the ire of Cleveland Browns fans this weekend. Mostly on Friday when we first posted the poll, the Browns fans were all over you. They told you to stick to your Florida BS. A bunch of people said, you must not watch Browns football. And I'm like, no, nobody watches Browns football out of Cleveland, guy. Relax.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty wild. There was a lot of passion with the Cleveland Browns fans. And if you guys are listening today and you did not get a chance to listen on Friday, we did our fantasy draft, and we put a poll out every Friday after we do these fantasy drafts just to see what all the fans think. And you can see that poll at Scout Team Radio on Twitter. And if you ever want to get social with us, we're also on Facebook and Instagram at Scout Team Radio. And this poll, we end up with, I think it was close to 700 votes, and you ended up winning. So I had I have to give it to you, sir. You are the 2 week in a row fantasy football, fantasy draft, fantasy whatever champion. So congratulations to you, sir.
I feel like you didn't. Neither one of us could have seen Tim Couch being your downfall. I think if you would have replaced Tim Couch with any other quarterback, maybe Deshaun Kaiser, maybe I can't even think of other Browns quarterbacks that were on the list, but definitely Deshaun Kaiser I think would have pushed you over the edge for sure. So I gotta reevaluate my drafting strategy. That one was too close to call. It was close all weekend. At one point, it was like 51 to 49%. So I thank you for your congratulations, but I know that it was you who lost it. It wasn't me who won, but neither one of us could have seen Tim Couch. I thought Johnny Manziel would have been because he's so popular, he's so likable. People love to defend him for whatever reason, but no, it was Tim Couch who was the most beloved quarterback in modern Cleveland Browns era.
It's crazy. He is the modern day Bernie Kosar. You know, we talked about it being after 1999 when they came back. So if you look at before 1999, before they had left, Bernie Kosar is one of the biggest, quarterbacks of all time. Afterwards, there hasn't been any good quarterbacks. So a guy like Tim Couch, who is a draft bust, in my opinion, and Browns fans won't like that, but he ends up being the savior that I was unaware of. So, yes, I have no idea what's going on in Cleveland, so I can't even talk about that.
Yeah, it was the Cleveland Browns' fault. It was the rest of the team's fault that Tim Couch was bad. That's why after he left the Browns, other teams couldn't wait to sign Tim Couch, couldn't wait to get him onto their roster, so that way they could give him a good team to win a Super Bowl with, and that is exactly what happened after that.
Yes. No, it did not.
No, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Steve Young. Steve Young is the guy that started off on a really crap team, ended up going to a good team, and then won a Super Bowl afterwards. Sorry, that was Steve Young's career, not Tim Couch. You did a good job this weekend, Kyle. I thought your list was good. I actually voted for your list.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. I guess we're going to since we're talking about our competition, I'm going to just jump right into this. We've got some Motivational Monday coming in after the break. But before we get into college football and motivational coaches' speeches, you and I both put out our 2 games that we thought we were going to have. These were kind of our locks of the week. But each week we're going to pick 2 different teams. We can't pick the same team that we've picked in the past. So I started it out this week with two games that I thought were going to be great games. The first game I picked was the Ravens over the Bills. Now, this was a close game for about 30 seconds. And then the Ravens lit the Bills on fire. Nathan Peterman for the Bills as a starting quarterback already gets benched. This is his second start in his career. His first start, he had a record 5 interceptions in 1 half. This start, he had a record 0 QBR after 3 quarters. So this guy, how did he get a start in the NFL? I don't even understand. I mean, I could see all the Kaepernick fans right now thinking, Kaepernick can't get a job and this guy can start for the Bills? Like, how does this happen? Like, what is going on in Buffalo? But all I know is my Ravens win, the Bills go down, so I have won one of my games. Now, the other one, Chris America, this one's a little bit different. We're going to have a little brain storming session to figure out how we're going to determine this next game. So here, let's think about this for just 1 second.
The thinker or the stinker?
That's right. We got the Cleveland Browns tying the Steelers, and I picked Cleveland to win. Now, the fact that Cleveland did not lose, in my book, should be a win. So how are we going to – is this count as a victory for Loudbeard on his second choice?
I think it just counts as a tie, man. I think we just got to open it up to your currently 1-0-1, and I'm 0-1 in this instance. I don't know how else we could score it.
All right, I'll take that. So 1-1 and 0.
1-0-1.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, so 1 win, no losses, and 1 tie.
One
you're
tie.
Right.
And then I guess we'll have to see how that breaks down. Hopefully that doesn't come into play. We have 15 more weeks of this. I, on the other hand, did not start off strong. I picked RSG's Tennessee Titans. I think that's Villain DeVoe. I can never pronounce his name on Twitter.
Just call him the Villain.
The Villain,
He's
the villain on there. He's a big Titans fan. God, I don't know if it was the 7 hour. It had to be the 7 hours. It had to be, Mariota going down, but he wasn't looking that great either against the Dolphins defense. And time to hit the panic button on the Tennessee Titans if they have to roll with Blaine Gabbert the rest of the year.
Yes, and they basically lost 2 of their best offensive weapons. Delaney Walker goes down with a serious knee injury. He's believed to be out for the entire year. He was by far their best tight end, but I think he was their best receiver, period. He was better than all of their other receivers. So they lose one of their biggest weapons on offense and their quarterback. If Mariota's gone and Blaine Gabbert's running the show, the Titans are sunk. Period. The end.
Yeah, like I said, they didn't even look strong. They didn't really look that good with Mariota being their quarterback. So to go with Blaine Gabbert, that's bad news. Do you move on from Mariota if you end up with the number 1 pick? I mean, this is my way too early conversation, but that's what you do week 1 on a Monday morning after week 1. You need overreactions and you need way too early assessments. Do you move on from Mariota after what we saw today, and if he's injured or out for the rest of the season?
Yeah, he does have quite the injury risk every time he goes out on the field. Every year he seems like he's got some sort of injury. Now, I look back to that draft, and I think Jameis Winston, number 1, Marcus Mariota, number 2. And out of those two guys, I'm not sold on either one of them at this point as continuing to be franchise quarterbacks. I'm still in a wait-and-see mentality, but long-term, if you get the number 1 draft pick and if that next big quarterback, like the next big Tim Couch or the next big Peyton Manning is out there, then you have to pull the trigger. These guys are once-in-a-lifetime talents. I mean, when I look back at all these number 1 draft picks that end up going on to great things, I think, man, I wish I could have Tim Couched that. And now that we see what is happening out there in the world, I would say that, yes, you cannot sit down and just expect your team to be good. You have to go out there, make some moves, and you need the next Aaron Rodgers on your team. You need the next just superstar. So if Mariota has not jumped into that next status, you look for another quarterback. And if it presents itself. If in the first round, if you have a high draft pick and the right guy is there, you take that chance. You get that quarterback.
Yeah, and since you talked about Jameis Winston, Tampa has every reason to move on from Jameis Winston after Fitzmagic looked unstoppable, probably the best daily fantasy buy you could imagine. From you could have won your daily fantasy just on Fitzmagic alone. Man, did you watch that game at all? He lit up the New Orleans Saints defense.
This is the classic Fitzmagic. He does this to you. He is the Jekyll and Hyde of NFL. I have seen him. This is why he's been on like 6 different teams, because he'll go out and he'll play like the best player in the NFL. The one year with the Jets, I think was about 3 years back, he had a phenomenal year. Then everybody's like, why aren't the Jets signing this guy? It's because they know this is lightning in a bottle. This guy knows how to be good for just long enough and then screw it up when it comes down to it. So I believe in Fitzmagic for maybe 5 games, maybe 10 games. But in the end, he's going to do something that screws up, and Jameis Winston will win this back. But just to see the Bucs go out there, I did not give them an ounce of credibility. I just did not think this team had it in them to come out and do what they did to the Saints. I knew the Saints were good. Now, I was worried about the Saints defense. The Saints defense in the past has done this where they are awful and they make people like Ryan Fitzmagic look like superstars. So, yeah, I was floored by this game, but congratulations to the Bucs. I didn't expect them to be this great, and seeing what they put on the field, Deshaun Jackson, Mike Evans, I mean, these guys just went off, and Fitzpatrick was just throwing the ball all over the field. The Saints had no answer, and when you put up 48 points, you should be winning. Now, the defense for the Bucs allowing 40 points and keeping the Saints in it, that's a different story, but the Saints offense, we kind of expected it, not the Bucs offense.
Yeah, so Fitzpatrick to me is a video game character. You know, when you build up your special and then you hit the button that releases your special and you're like a badass for like a good 20 seconds. Or maybe he's like Super Mario. He gets the star power and then you're just unstoppable. Nobody can stop you, but it only lasts for so long, and then eventually you go back to being just regular old Mario who gets killed by Goombas if you just walk into them. So I think that's what's going to happen to Fitzpatrick. I completely agree with you. And if you're a Saints fan, you have nothing to worry about. You saw this exact same thing play out last year when Sam Bradford and the Minnesota Vikings marched into New Orleans, or I guess it was at Minnesota, and Sam Bradford went off on your defense, threw for 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and then the Saints D, whatever they did, they got it turned around. The Saints D was actually pretty decent last year, really good. And if they don't whiff on a pass against Minnesota later on in the season or in the playoffs, they might be playing for a Super Bowl last year. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Real quick, we're getting some traction here on Twitter. I just want to give a quick shout-out to Ian over at Rehab Sports Guys, the producer man. He went ahead and let us know that Delanie Walker broke his ankle, so Delanie Walker's done for the year for the Titans, and Tim Couch is the equivalent of the Tony Romo for Cowboys. Just saying. Good.
Oh, good. Way to tell me my starting tight end for my fantasy football team is out for the season. Thanks, bud.
Yep. Yeah, you needed that because you got beat down pretty bad in fantasy football this week.
Loudbeard, you scored what, 210 points?
Yeah, I basically had the top. I had like 4 out of the top 5 producing fantasy people from sports.
Yeah, that was
Kamara, Tyreek Hill, Michael Thomas. Anyway,
nobody cares about your fantasy football.
We're not going down that rabbit hole. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I did it.
But maybe
wrong.
some people care about your Redskins, and we talked about Sam Bradford, and Sam Bradford is still awful. I still don't get why this guy is not only on a team, but making like $18 million a year.
I just want to say one thing about my Redskins.
How the hell do you know that?
Because I'm a genius.
That's right. The Redskins are going to be my genius pick of the week. So every Monday we like to do our idiot sandwich and genius, and you hit on that key mark. Once you said Redskins, you just prompted me to realize that I am a genius. And you know why I'm a genius, Chris America? Do you know why?
Why, buddy? Tell me.
Because I called it. I said Adrian Peterson is the black Captain America. He never ages. He just gets stronger. And he showed the world that he is legit. He is back. And Adrian Peterson ran all over that Cardinals defense. The Redskins are legit. Alex Smith is a top 5 quarterback. I am a frickin' genius.
You are, and you called it. The Redskins at no point in time were at all worried about this game. They were in control from the kickoff. And like I said, Sam Bradford was just awful. The Sam Bradford we all know and love showed up, and just no injury excuses, no nothing. Like, this guy was just awful. He had a 57.6 quarterback rating, no touchdowns to speak of, just a hot, wet pile of vomit.
So it's the exact same Sam Bradford we expected. Now, he's had those glimpses of potential in his career, but never at any point have we said, oh, wow, Sam Bradford, this guy's a superstar, and we think he's the best ever. He was the Sam Bradford that we all came to know and love.
Yep, that's exactly that guy. I have a genius. Can you hit me with it?
How the hell do you know that?
Because I'm a genius.
That's right. I am a genius because I told you that don't worry about Patrick Mahomes. Don't worry about the interceptions he's throwing in the practice and preseason and all that other stuff, because he lit up the Chargers defense, threw 4 touchdowns, and led them to a big win against a division rival, just like I said they would. Regular season Andy shows up again, shows everybody why he owns the regular season, and he's going to continue to own the AFC West unless another guy who impressed me yesterday, Case Keenum over at the Denver Broncos, can stop him.
Yeah, Case Keenum was awesome. I'm glad to see that it wasn't just magic over with the Vikings. It looks like he is that good of a quarterback. He's getting that chance, and he looked amazing. So that was a great genius on your part. Now, once we go from genius, we also have something else that we like to talk about, which we really don't like talking about, but sometimes we can be quite the...
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
And every once in a while, we may get a prediction wrong here and there. Not every prediction, but just every once in a while. And you already hit on this. My idiot sandwich for the week is hating on the Bucks. Hating on Fitztragic. I should not have... I said in our predictions for the NFC South, I said it's a 3-team race. It's the Panthers, and it is the Falcons, and it is not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It is the Saints, not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I said the Tampa Bay Buccaneers aren't even in this conversation, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Overreaction Monday go in, and they look like they are the world beaters over in the NFC South. Watch out, NFC South. Ryan Fitzmagic is coming for you.
That he is, and go ahead and hit me with mine.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
I'm gonna only like cut my idiot sandwich in half and say that I only deserve a half of an idiot sandwich. I said that Saquon Barkley wasn't going to do anything against the Jaguars defense. I said that he's not as good as everybody made him out to be. He ended up rushing for over 100 yards. He scored, I think, around 25, 26 points in fantasy. Had an overall very productive day. What they drafted him to do, I will say the only reason why I'm taking half of it is because out of the 106 yards, 68 of them was on a long touchdown run, bunch of missed tackles. You're going to expect that from a guy like Saquon Barkley. I think he's going to be a boomer bust type running back where if he can hit the hole and he has space in the open field, yes, he's going to take it to the house better than most running backs. But can he do it consistently getting 5 to 6 to 7 yards every game, or is he just going to rely on those big boomer bust runs where he busts one out for 68 yards? So I'm taking a half of an idiot sandwich. Can I do that, Loudbeard? Are you going to allow that, or should I eat the whole thing on this one?
Now, I think we shoved the whole thing down your throat,
All
but
right. I'll choke it down.
You bring up a good point. Saquon did not look impressive at first. Until he broke that long run, he was very pedestrian. Then he breaks that long run. He gets some extra yardage after that. He looked good at points, but there was also times where he had, negative plays or just couldn't get through that defense. Now, the Jaguars have an elite defense, so maybe this is just an anomaly. He still got over 100 yards. It was one really long run that really propelled him to that. But I'm with you, man. Great idiot sandwich there. We're going to be up against the break here in a couple minutes, but I wanted to talk about this Sunday night game. I'm going to tell you, Chris America, I can't lie to you. I'm a truth teller. I went to bed saying, oh my gosh, the Bears are spanking the Packers. Aaron Rodgers is hurt. He's in the locker room. Khalil Mack comes out, and he's got sack fumbles, and he returns a fumble or an interception for a touchdown. He looks like he is the greatest defensive player ever. I said, man, I was wrong. I thought the Bears were just going to be mediocre. The Packers look bad. If Aaron Rodgers' injury is bad, the Packers could be done for the year. And I wake up this morning, and I find out that Aaron Rodgers leads a miraculous comeback, being down 20-0 to the Chicago Bears, and he almost single-handedly takes the Packers, throws them on his back, and takes them and wins 24-23. And I think to myself, why do I ever count out Aaron Rodgers? Time and time and time again, he goes through these spurts where you're like, I don't know if I don't know if he can do it. I don't know if he can come back. Maybe he's too injured. Maybe something's going to happen. And you just give him a little bit of space, and this guy can make anything happen. It doesn't matter that he has an awful offensive line. Of course, he gets injured because he gets sacked and his ankle gets rolled up. But he comes back in the third quarter, and Deshaun Kaiser, his backup, looks like a wet bag of vomit. And when he comes back, I think the whole team gets rejuvenated. They get revitalized, and I bet Bears fans right now are just absolutely besides themselves. I wish our Bears insider, Sean Daly, was up right now. We could have him call in and talk about his pain. But that was a Jekyll and Hyde night and day game. I cannot believe Aaron Rodgers did what Aaron Rodgers always does. He did it. He brought him back, and this is the Aaron Rodgers we've known to love, and this is the Aaron Rodgers we can expect every week in the NFL.
Yeah, both Aaron Rodgers and Khalil Mack prove they deserve every last penny that they earned or that they have in their contract. And then some might even say they deserve even more. You were right. Khalil Mack was just unstoppable. He's like the first player to have, I think it was a sack, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, an interception, and an interception return for a touchdown since, I don't know, Ulysses S. Grant did it for the now defunct professional team Waterville Mud Stompers. So, it's
Nice
been a long
reference.
time since anybody's done that, and he was fantastic. But then, You went to bed when Rodgers was injured. I went to bed at the fourth quarter. I thought maybe I will see a comeback win. It'll be awesome to watch. But I also have to get up early tomorrow morning and do a sports radio show. So I'm going to take the gamble that it's not going to happen. I should have stayed up. I should have watched the rest of the fourth quarter because Aaron Rodgers was just your vintage Aaron Rodgers. Lit the scoreboard up, came back, won 24-23. Man, I missed that game. I shouldn't have. I should have stayed up. But you always hate staying up for the comeback, and then it never comes, and then you're going to bed at midnight.
Now, do you think trading away Todd Hundley was a bad idea? Also tweeted in by Ian from Rehab Sports Guys.
Yeah, terrible idea. They should have kept him on because he would have thrown for like 2 more yards than Kaiser would have.
Yeah, that would have been much better. Much better. All right. Thank you, guys. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. And on the flip side, we're going to have the most motivational Monday you could ever expect on a Monday coming after a great weekend in sports. And we are going to motivate the motivation out of you. Be motivated.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. Ah, 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst.
Oh, guess who it is? Did you know the station had a janitor? Oh, yeah, the Hefe, otherwise known as Beck. And it's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12-Ounce Sports Radio every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch interviews, special guests, and the recap of the week's news and headlines and box scores and results. It's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. Oh, it's summertime. And what's that mean? We're all heading off to the golf course. But don't go too fast. Make sure you go to 12ouncesportsradio.com and book a tee time. At the bottom of any page, you'll see Book Like a Pro. Click that banner, enter your course of choice or zip code, find a tee time you like, book that tee time, and you'll get up to 50% off, courtesy of 12-Ounce Sports Radio. Book like a pro, even if you don't play like one.
Ring Central features all-in-one phone, messaging, and video conferencing. It's easy to use with unparalleled security. Ring Central simplifies things so you can grow. Call Ring Central to speak with a representative about a price for your growing business at 877-779-3860. Again, that's 877-779-3860.
All right, I want to thank everybody for listening in and joining us back on Scout Team Sports. We are on 12ouncesportsradio.com. Make sure you continue to listen to us on the radio station, but you can go to the website, check out all the great features the website has. You can book tee times, you can book event tickets, you can do all kinds of great stuff on that website. We have a all-star lineup coming for you on the radio station today. Scout Team Sports is always bringing it in hot. Monday mornings, 6 a.m. We've got Clutch Talk Sports coming at you live at 8 a.m. At 10 a.m. and 11, you're going to hear Scout Team again. Just keep listening to us. Why not? At noon, Hog Nation Report live. These guys bring it hot, especially with a big loss from Arkansas. I think they're going to have plenty to talk about. Off the Field on at 2, Bourbon and Bad Opinions on at 4, Stick and Rink, Brunch with the Buds, Vegas Squares, Primetime Angles Radio Live Show. I'm telling you, it's an all-star lineup. Make sure that you continue to listen in to 12-Ounce Sports Radio all day long. And if you just love the Scout Team, you can always hit us up on social media at Scout Team Radio on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And then if you want to catch old episodes, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or you can catch all the old episodes at scoutteamradio.com. And with all that being said, Chris America, I feel like I need to get motivated. Like, this is my Monday. I need to get into this a little bit more. I'm tired. I'm lagging. My caffeine hasn't kicked in yet. Is there anything that you can do to help me out?
Yeah, I got a little something here. Let me hook it up. Do you know who won big in Tempe, Arizona this past weekend against Michigan State?
Ooh, are you talking my man Herm? Playoffs? No, that's not the right
Playoffs?
Herm. Is that Herm or is that the other dude?
No, that was the guy from the Colts.
Yeah, that was the guy.
Herm Edwards.
What was Herm?
Famous,
Herm had one famous one,
Herm
right?
was, you play to win the game.
That's the one. You're right. Herm is motivational, man. I love him. And they're 2-0, Arizona State making the top 25 AP poll. This guy is great.
Herm's got him going, and I might have to take a big idiot sandwich at the end of this season because I was down on him and his college coaching abilities. But here we go, Herm. Take us away. This is before, I think it's before the high school All-American Under Armour football game that he coached one time. So maybe we should have seen this coming before because he motivated these all-star high school players.
You kind of move it around. I get it. I was a player before. I get it. Kind of like trying to feel it out, trying to feel if you're okay. That's okay. Not time to turn the start button on yet. Not time. I'll let you know when it's time. It ain't time yet. It's like it's like a bomb. It's kind of ticking right now. We're just ticking. But it ain't ready. We're not going to light the fuse yet. We're going to light the fuse this way, man. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. If we win the toss, Captain, here's the deal. If we win the toss, we're deferring. We're going to defer. Defense, you going on the field. You've got two choices. You take the ball away from them early or you make them punt. When they punt the ball, whoever returned the ball, catch the ball, block. Then from there, if he runs a touchdown back, we'll kick the point after. If not, offense, you go on the field. Take the ball and go score. That's how it's going to happen. Understand that. So when you go out that door, that's the plan. That's the plan, man. We got a plan. We got good players in this room. When you go out there in that huddle, trust the guy to your left and right, get the call of what you're supposed to do, and then, man, let's go put it on them white hats tonight. Yeah. It's time to do it, Jack. It'll be time in a little bit. I'll let you know. They're going to call us. Relax. What time we got to go? We're about to blow up in here. We can go. Let's go, man. We got to go.
Hey, what time is it, Loudbeard? It's time to go. It's time to get your Monday right. When you get into the cubicle, look to the person to your left. Look to the person to your right. That's who you're going to be out there with. You're going to beat up those sales. You're going to beat up that production. You're going to make sure every last effort you give is the best you have. So once again, outfax the guy to your left, outsell the guy to your right, and put a hat on a hat. Get out there and score. You got this Monday. Chris America, Motivational Mondays. You got it.
Yeah. I feel motivated, Chris America. I feel real motivated. I feel
Herm
like
Edwards will do that to you.
I've never been this motivated in my life. Thank you, Chris America. I appreciate you motivating me.
That's what I'm here for. That's what Herm Edwards is here for. We're going to just go out and get the ball, and then when you get the ball, you're going to go out and score. What other game plan do you need?
You do not need another game plan. That is all that you will ever need, Chris America. I loved it. So we had a great week in college sports, and I feel like now I need to talk about college football because you have motivated me. And I have to start we talked about Florida and Kentucky already, so I'm not going to get into that. But my team, the UCF Knights, I'm not even going to talk about the game because it was 38-0. UCF didn't even play that good and still won 38-0. But I'm going to talk about the tailgating ahead of time. There is a special part of the tailgate that I just felt that it needed to be brought up. And I learned something new, and I love learning. I read things on bathroom walls all the time, and I learn new things. But at the tailgate, there is a game called the Wizard Staff. And I felt like there was a lot of college kids playing this. And this is where you take a case of beer, or 2 cases of beer, or 4 cases of beer, whatever it is, and you drink that beer, whether it's shotgunning it or drinking it quickly, whatever you do, and then you get a new beer, and you duct tape the empty one to the bottom of it. And you keep doing that, until you show how many beers you have, and whoever has the longest staff, the longest beer staff, ends up winning this game. And I just want to say that if you're ever able to get the beer staff over the height of yourself, like your own height, you end up becoming master wizard status. So I would say that watching tailgaters, me being an old man casually observing the college kids, it is a, it was fun. It really, the people watching was unbelievable. But to learn a brand new drinking game that looks like it was just one of the best, I don't know. It's hard to describe. So that was one thing about tailgating. There was one other thing that I wanted to talk about tailgating, and I think that I wish our friend Anthony Mack was on the phone right now, because he's the male aficionado, and, he was one of the, I don't know, I guess I'll just explain it this way. College kids like to get drunk, take their shirts off, and try to wrestle around with each other, which I think is really weird. But somebody like the male aficionado was just, he would like that sort of thing, and I know he would. So I'm just saying, if the male aficionado was here today, if he was able to call in or do anything, that would be nice, because I'd love to hear his perspective. And
we also need to hear about that Florida State game too. We need to hear about what was going on.
That too.
We need to hear about what was going on with a little turnover backpack.
Ooh, you had to bring that up. I think it's a little too soon. It's definitely too soon for that. But
let's say,
you know what?
Let's real fast say male aficionado 3 times, and maybe he'll call. Male aficionado. Male aficionado.
Male aficionado.
Male aficionado.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Is this the male aficionado calling in? Anthony.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Hey, Anthony Mack, your inner male aficionado. How are you doing today?
I am fabulous. It's Monday morning. I cannot wait to take on the weekend to conquer it.
Yeah. So I know.
Did I say weekend? I meant week.
Oh, whatever. It's always the weekend for you, male aficionado, because you like to have a good time. So there's 2 subjects we were just bringing up that we thought you'd be interested in. College kids getting drunk and wrestling with each other with their shirts off. And 2, wearing a really cute designer Gucci backpack as a turnover backpack for the Florida State Seminoles. So which one do you want to get started with?
Well, yes, first of all, I don't know if I can say this because I don't know if they're a sponsor or anything, but I'm just going to say it, guys. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to throw it out there. My favorite thing to do is anytime I need something heavy lifted, I call college hunks hauling chunk. I make sure those big, strapping young men come out, and I like to watch them move my heavy stuff around the house. Sometimes I'll just be like, hey, I need to move my couch from this side of the room to that side of the room, and I'll call those big, strapping young men. So to see them wrestle, ooh, that'll get my goose cooked every time.
Ooh, okay. That's insider knowledge right there. Good suggestion.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. What about this backpack? This thing's weird.
The backpack thing, oh my, OMG, guys, OMG. I just love the backpack. I love the leatheriness of it. I like to think of it as like a purse. I love carrying my purse around when I go to the mall. I love carrying my purse around when I go to brunch. It's just fantastic. So, it's just fun, guys. Stop making fun of them. It's just fun. Girls just want to have fun, and so do Florida State Seminoles. So I don't know what everybody was hating on it for. Girls just want to have fun.
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, my beauty mask it's time. I need to wash my face. I need to get ready for the day. I need to conquer the day. Make sure you conquer the day too, sweetie. Have a good day. Toodles.
Oh, bye. Toodles. Wow, that was great. We had a great insight there from the male aficionado. We haven't had him on in a while, so it was good to hear from Anthony this morning. He's one of my favorite call-in guests that we've ever had on the show. Having somebody like that call in is just, it adds such a dynamic to the show that we're not able to bring normally.
Yeah,
hey,
it was
Chris, did you enjoy that?
I did. I was speechless, and he was just talking so fast, Kyle. I don't even know how you got a word in edgewise. He just goes. I love it. I love his energy. I feel like he motivated me more than I motivated anybody else.
That's true. And I think he helped motivate Florida State to barely squeak out a win against Samford. You know, that backpack that he suggested that they wear, it definitely worked because they really they dug down deep and really took out that juggernaut known as Samford.
Yeah, when you're taking on the mighty Samford Bulldogs, you need every bit of motivation, every bit of tool you have in your bag, pun intended, to beat them. And they squeak out a win, and that was good enough for them to get some more top 25 votes.
Yeah, you know what? They deserve every bit of those votes because, you know, when you lose game one and then you come back and you barely squeak by against a lesser team in game two, you obviously deserve to be in the top 25. So voters, keep doing what you're doing. We're very proud of how well you're voting out there. It is really a great sight to see that, you know, the AP and the coaches poll, these guys know what they're doing. They know that Florida State is really a good team. Eventually, they'll show it on the field.
One of these days, they'll get it together. But, you know, A for effort, they're trying, and that's all that matters.
So, Chris America, we only have about 10 minutes left, so let's go a little quickly through some of this college football that happened this weekend, and then we'll finish the show out with a little Serena talk, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind at all.
All right, so on the college football side, we said it ahead of time, a little bit of a boring week. There wasn't a whole lot of top 25 matchups. You know, Georgia goes up against South Carolina. Georgia wins as expected, though I was hoping South Carolina would pull it out.
I thought that was going to be your idiot sandwich, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, it probably should have been. USC goes against Stanford. USC loses. Again, not a big surprise there. I think were the only two.
They only put up 3 points. That was the surprise to me.
I don't know. USC is always overrated in my opinion. The rest of the games, the big upset, like Herm had mentioned earlier. Well, he didn't mention the upset, but as you mentioned earlier about Herm, is Arizona State comes through, beats Michigan State. Michigan State struggled week one against a lesser team, and then they come out against Arizona State and lose. Michigan State is not that good of a team, and Arizona State is a better team than we have given them credit. So good seeing that. Other than that, I mean, when you're looking at the top 25, nothing jumps off the page. Anything that you see jumping off the page that you wanted to talk about from this weekend in college football?
No, the only other thing that I wanted to talk about this weekend is we got to see Scott Frost debut. The offense looked good. The defense, on the other hand, not so much. You know, he's taking over a brand new team, though. Anybody who's judging Scott Frost off of his first game straight out the gate against a Pac-12 opponent that was in the Pac-12 championship 2 years ago, go get your head checked. It's just week one or week two, I guess, but it's week one for them. He's got a lot of rebuilding to do. I don't think he has the speed that he needs on that roster just yet to do what he did at UCF, but with the amount of scoring that he did with the roster that he has, you got to be a little bit hopeful if you're a Nebraska fan that the future is bright there. So congrats to Colorado, though, for winning that game. It was actually a really, really good game going back and forth all day.
Yeah, I'm a little torn being a UCF fan. I don't know if I wanted him to succeed or not succeed. I would have liked, I guess, to seen him win because he was a great coach for UCF, but them losing also, that's a little bittersweet because I'm thinking, okay, you left UCF, a program that was on the up, and then you go to Nebraska, who has to be a full rebuild. But good for him.
Yes.
Hopefully he ends up pulling this back together. The last thing I do want to say about college football before we move on to Serena is...
Before you move on to that, I want to say before you move on from Scott
Before
Frost,
I move on, how about before you move on from me moving on, from you moving on, from me moving on, go ahead.
I would say for Scott Frost, for you, it's that girlfriend that you had a hard breakup because you loved her, but it was a good breakup. It wasn't like you guys hated each other or said things that you didn't mean or whatever. It was a good breakup, but you still you want to see her happy, but you still in the back of your mind okay, I want her to see her get married and have a guy, but I don't want him to be as attractive as me or as good as me. I want it to be just she's happy, but deep down she's kind of missing me. That's what you want out of Scott Frost. You want to see success, but not the success that he had with you.
Yeah. That sounds about right. Pretty much.
Moving on.
Pretty much. Moving on. Oh, one last thing. Anthony Mack wanted me to let everybody know. We put it on social media on the Scout Team page, but he wanted me to let everybody know that Miami is back. 77-0 against Savannah State. Miami is back. On that note, we are going to go over to Serena. I got a quick... Oh, you got something to say?
Well, he did tweet out, and I posted the tweet on the Scout team page. He said, we're losing to Samford, and we have a turnover backpack. Abandoned ship. Yo, UCF or Miami. Any room left on that bandwagon? FSU fans, don't at me. So you know that was him. That's his signature sign-off on all of his tweets. So is there any room for Anthony Mack on the UCF bandwagon, Loudbeard?
No, absolutely not. But there is
so
room
he'll have
for
to
Serena.
join Miami.
So
all
let's
right, go ahead
listen
with
to Serena.
We can never really go back, Serena, but if you could change one thing about what occurred, what would that be?
I don't know. You definitely can't go back in time, but I can't sit here and say I wouldn't say he's a thief because I thought he took a game from me, but I've seen other men call other umpires several things, and I'm here fighting for women's rights and for women's equality and for all kinds of stuff. And for me to say thief and for him to take a game, it made me feel like it was a sexist remark. I mean, like how he's never took a game from a man because they said thief. For me, it blows my mind. But I'm going to continue to fight for women and to fight for us to have equal. Like Courtney should be able to take her shirt off without getting a fine. Like this is outrageous, you know? And I just feel like the fact that I have to go through this is just an example for the next person that has emotions and that want to express themselves and they want to be a strong woman, and they're going to be allowed to do that because of today. Maybe it didn't work out for me, but it's going to work out for the next person.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, that was our girl Serena coming through. If you have been under a rock and did not see what happened, Serena got into a little bit of an argument with the judge. He ends up docking her a game because she called him a thief because she felt like one of his calls that he stole a point from her, and then he ends up docking the game. So she's calling him a thief, and it got a little heated. She was very almost calm and collected. You could tell she was emotional, but trying to do it in a professional way. But good for you, Serena. I think tennis has a long way to go. I believe that this sexist mindset that is in tennis has to change, and Serena's bringing that to light. We talked about it last week, Chris Americo, about the shirt incident when the tennis player takes off her shirt, has a sports bra covering her, switches shirts, and then she gets, I think, a fine or something along the lines. Tennis, I mean, this is a bad look. This U.S. Open has been marred with sexism. Do you agree?
I completely agree, and it's right there, right in front of you, and I think if you're tired of hearing about politics and these kind of conversations in sports, then become a part of the solution and just, instead of arguing against it, instead of fighting it, just see it, call it out, and say, hey, this part of sports needs to change, and then eventually it'll change. You talked about the shirt incident. I don't remember who the two male tennis players were, but it was so hot when they were playing that one tennis player said, I need to go change. He goes to the locker room, completely changed. His other male opponent takes his shirt completely off and just hangs out with his shirt off until the other guy comes back. You're telling me you're going to dock a female a point or fine her or whatever the punishment was for just switching her shirts really fast, but a male can just chill out and just hang out? And you're right. McEnroe was notorious for cursing out refs and everything else, and we kind of applauded him where when Serena goes off, it's like, hey, you need to calm down. You need to not be so irrational. And she gets docked a game. It's ridiculous. So let's all just agree to just call out tennis. Say, hey, just fix it. Just change your mentality. Treat the men and the women the exact same. So whether that's dock the point or suspend or fine or whatever it is to the guy that's chilling out with his shirt off, or don't do it to the girl that switches shirts really fast. When it's this blatant, it's just you just got to just move on and just take care of it.
I completely agree. Bad look for tennis. I think sports in general has a little bit of a sexist undertone. The way men players get much greater salaries when you look at basketball, you look at soccer, you look at tennis. There's just a division, and they're getting higher salaries. They're not getting treated the same. And this is something that just needs to continue to be brought to light. And Serena is one of those iconic figures that can do that. So congrats to you, Serena. We appreciate you. The Scout team is always here supporting you. So with that being said, Chris America, we are about ready to wrap this sucker up. You got any final parting words for our listeners?
Yeah, Serena, you're my girl, Blue.
You're my girl, Blue. Oh, also, side note, at the UCF football game, I saw Dallas Cowboys jersey and a Johnny Manziel Cleveland Browns jersey. Why do fans do that to themselves? I don't get it. What are you doing?
I don't know, but I now want a Tim Couch jersey. That's all I know. So let's get out into this Monday. Make sure you tune into the rest of the shows, and we'll see you guys on the flip side on Tuesday. If
Peace.
I can talk right. Later.
We out.
Yeah, man, a Tim Couch jersey would be sick. I'd be wearing that stuff. I would never take it off.
I looked it up on eBay, going for like $15,000. Woo! Expensive.
That's
Worth
what
every
happens
penny.
when you're the greatest Browns quarterback of the modern era.
Worth every penny.